What's up, drivers and dreamers? I got something for you. So I get a lot of calls, a lot of questions about choosing a trailer. What do I look for when I'm buying a trailer? How do I make sure I'm not getting cheated or gypped or screwed or whatever term you want to use when I'm shopping for a trailer? So I'm going to give you a few pointers in what to look for to make sure that you're getting a trailer that's going to last you. What you see here is a 2017 model 5307. Okay, 53 feet long, 7-unit trailer. They make a 5308, which we have, and they make a 5309, which we have. Again, a high mount, just like this. Trailer very similar to this, that's a high mount, meaning the fifth wheel is up on top of the frame of the truck, not down low, like a low mount or a center steer, otherwise known as a stinger rig. All of them are great trailers. But I want to give you a few pointers on what you need to look for as you're purchasing a trailer to make sure that the deal is a good one, that you're not buying a trailer that's going to end up costing you a lot of money in maintenance, because basically, guys, this is a big chunk of steel with some tires under it and some hydraulic hoses and cylinders. Okay, that's really all this is. So this isn't rocket science. This isn't something that you got to worry about the engine blowing up or dropping a tranny or a rear end like you would if you're buying a truck. So here's what you got to look for. You can see that this weld right here is a little bit larger than the one right down there. The reason for it is it cracked right around here, and I have repaired this. Make sure to leave a little weep hole, drain hole, because these enclosed tubes tend to develop moisture inside, condensation with temperature changes, and the water will settle right here in the bottom. So all of this will be solid all the way up and down, but it will rust off right around here. Now that's not that big of a concern because you can fish plate it. The fish plate is basically like this right here. Another layer of steel added to it and welded onto it. So you can take a diamond like that, this section right here, fasten it on right here, just like that. Weld it on there so that it ties this back to that. That's legal, it's not expensive, it's easy to do. Now, here's something else you gotta look for. Notice how that side rail is bent in right there. Before I got this trailer, somebody sideswiped a curb or something with it. The term we use for that when we're discussing trailers that have hit something is, has it been curbed? And the answer is yes, that rail is bent. Now, that's not a problem because the bend is minor enough that it has not thrown it out of alignment. So it doesn't affect it at all. It's really just aesthetic. It hasn't affected the structural integrity of the trailer, and it pulls straight behind the truck, so it's a non-issue really. Now, as you can see right here, paint's missing. That's common. You're going to see that on basically every car hauling trailer out here because we're so low to the ground. When we go over a hump, it's going to drag in the gravel or drag on the blacktop. It's going to keep the paint off. Well, eventually, if you do it often enough, it will wear through and you'll end up with a hollow on the bottom of the frame. Now, it's easy to take a piece of angle iron, clap it on there, weld it on, and you just bought yourself several years of service. It's not a big deal if it's just been drug enough that it's wore through. However, where you have to look is on the inside of the frame rail. You want to make sure there's no rust holes coming through on the inside. Now, this trailer is solid as it can be still. There's no rust in this trailer, but the most common areas for rust are on the inside edge of the frame rail. You may see some along in this area where these cross supports tie in. Again, here's a gusset, is what this is called. You can easily repair when it's just on an end. But if it's the entire length of that lower beam, it's not super cheap. If you take it to a shop, you might spend up to $3,500 to have that one beam replaced down the side, because there's a lot of cutting and welding to get that put back in. And on some of these trailers, like this one, that beam is arched, which means it's a special order, so they're a little bit expensive. Last time I priced one, I think that one beam was like 1,800 bucks. Don't quote me on that, I don't remember it for sure. Now, it doesn't have to be arched. It can be a straight beam, but the arch gives you a little bit more clearance, which is nice to have. So obviously one of the things is, you know, are your cylinders tight? Are they leaking? This one's not leaking. That's nice. It costs you about 150 bucks to have a cylinder rebuilt. It costs you about maybe 300 bucks to buy a brand new one. So not a big deal if you find a trailer with a bad cylinder. Definitely if the bones are solid, structurally if it's solid, then it's not a big deal if you have to replace a few tires or a few hoses. Now, I want you to notice something. See the rust right here? Splattering back? That's okay. This is actually a recall on these units, that these little rivets, they come loose. Now that's not a bad thing. I actually punched the rivets out and took the upright off right over there on the other side so the forklift can come in and side load. And I just hadn't made it to removing the rest of these. They're nice to have for climbing up and down because you can climb up and grab it. That's what they're for. But I want to take it where there's a removable pin and put in there. That way, if you need to side load with a forklift, you just pull that thing out and it's good to go. But here's what I was going to say about this rust. That's what you look for a crack. Oftentimes, when it rusts off along the bottom, you'll start seeing a little bit of rust. And since you see no rust anywhere along here, these welds are intact. Now that's a weep hole, and check this out. Let's see if I can get a piece of this out. Yeah, can't really. Look up inside there. See all those little rusty flakes? That's coming off the inside of this tube and falling down there. But the reason for that hole is so that the water can drain out and not sit inside there and cause this to rust off, break loose right there. All the little components like hoses and cylinders can be easily replaced, so that's not something to worry a lot about. You know, you can look up under your suspension and all those components are replaceable easily enough. Your brakes, your tires, you know, everything can be replaced easily. So you want to make sure that structurally the trailer is intact. So age-wise, age is not a concern as long as it's not a rusty trailer, except for one thing. Okay, if you like a trailer that's flexible, if you like a trailer that has a lot of ability to fit multiple size loads, you want a trailer that has this #1 deck right here that will do like this one does. It will raise. Right there's a cylinder that makes it go straight up. That cylinder right there raises that end up, and this cylinder up under here makes this deck slide all the way down to about here. So you can take this vehicle, you can raise it up, you can tilt it either direction you want to tilt it, but usually this way, because when you raise the front end of that car up into the air, you can pull that one in under it. So right now I have enough room that as long as my fourth vehicle on top isn't over 15 feet long, I've already done the measurement, so I know. I could take that car, run it up underneath that one, back that truck up a little ways because I'm just barely hanging off the back of the trailer right now, still well within legal limits, and I can put another car right there. Obviously I can't get one underneath there because I've got that big one on, but look at here, I already have 2 cars, 2 SUVs, the F550 with the big work box on it, and I could put another unit on this trailer yet. This is why I like a larger trailer rather than a smaller hotshot style trailer, because I can do the big units. Now I can't do 2 of those. If I put another one up here, even if I didn't have that one in there and lowered that all the way down, I would still be over height. Now on a hotshot trailer, you could do 2 of those. The problem is you don't have 2 of those available every day, all day long on the load board like you have a mix of stuff. So you still make better money unless you have a contract moving strictly large units going both directions. You're still better off to have a large trailer like this because you can do large units on top. I can even put an F350 4-wheel drive, regular cab, or even 4-door, but single rear wheel right here in the belly, and then still put large units on top. So in my opinion, it is well worth having a larger trailer. But basically, age-wise isn't a big deal. It's very good if you've got the number 1 deck that's movable and you've got the number 6 deck that will drop down, because look at this. This second vehicle here on this number 6 deck, I've got it all the way down low. Now that deck will raise back up flush with this so I can drive this vehicle out. But being able to lower that all the way down gives me all kinds of headroom up there. I'm not even 14 feet on that truck right there. And I could lower this down a little bit, but I haven't had to change suspensions. I haven't had to let air out of tires. And I still have 5 units on at the moment. And like I said, I could put 6 units on, including that big beast right there, because I have a very flexible trailer. Unfortunately, I'm not sure when Cottrell started making that really awesome number 1 deck like that. So I don't know what year to tell you on that. But the only 2 factors with age are, obviously, you want to watch out for serious rust, not minor rust, but serious rust that's going to become a structural issue that can be costly to repair. And you want a trailer that's going to have the flexibility, like this one, of being able to raise that car up, pull that one in, put another one in there, drop that down. All these different flexibility advantages that this trailer has equals dollar signs, guys, dollar signs. Because if I already had several units, like say 2 good size units in there, and I only had 12 feet left here, all I gotta do is hit my number 7 lever up there, and this back deck goes, slides right out. Gives me more deck space on the bottom. So I can put a full-size truck in there and still get 2 cars on the bottom deck. It's really awesome. Here's what a lot of guys don't understand. They want to avoid a payment. They're scared to make that payment. A trailer like this will run you around $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 a month. And that sounds like a huge payment. It is a big payment, and it comes every single month. But think about it this way. That one car right there, say that's a $500 car. And I do one of those every week because I have the flexibility to do it. That one extra car more than made the payment on this trailer. Now, usually I do more than that a week, which means I'm putting money in my pocket and covering the payment on a trailer like this. So in the long run, this trailer makes you money. It doesn't cost you money. Trailers like this that are flexible are absolutely the way to go. Another thing about this trailer that's really nice, drop pockets. This right here, watch this. Front tire drops in that hole right there, which means this vehicle just went down about 8 inches, which means the top deck can come down about 8 inches, which means I can have an 8-inch taller vehicle on top. Check this out. This section right here that's kind of difficult to see, but this section that you've seen in some of my other videos also drops way down. This whole area, this is a lock for it. This whole thing will drop down to right about here, slope like this, so that when you come up, your front tire drops in and drops another 8 inches. That gives you the ability to put a beast like that on when you've got something taller in right here, because that vehicle drops down. If you drop that vehicle into the drop pockets, you can lower the deck down farther and you can still be legal on top or legal in that section. So really awesome trailer to have flexibility. Here's something else that's super nice to have on a trailer. I'm not using it at the moment, but what you see this right here, this is called a flip out. It's hinged right there. It will flip all the way up and lay back over so that I don't have anything beyond the end of the trailer, which is this, not this. Sometimes you have to educate a DOT officer that this is not the end of the trailer when they're measuring for your overhang. I avoided a ticket one day because I was 4 feet overhang from this point, and he was trying to give me a ticket because I was more than 4 feet from this point, and I had to point out the fact to him that this is not the end of the trailer. This is the end of the trailer. So I got out of the ticket. Now up here on this other end, you'll also see that there are flip outs not only on the back of this deck, but on the front. This car is sitting on a flip out. See the hinge point? Right down there is also a flip out. This is the end of the deck, but I've got this. Now I can take this car picture this as a clock. Right there is 6 o'clock. I can bring this deck, bring this car back farther to the point where the end of this deck is right there, or even back into this point. Some people think that's crazy, but as long as you have carefully chained it so it cannot move forward, you're totally safe and legal. That means I could take those flip outs, flip them in, take that car, move it back that way, because right now, you see how those flip outs are sticking out in front of the car? Well, if I raised this all the way up and tried to pull that under, this would be my limiting factor. But if this wasn't in the way, that means this will be the limiting factor. I can bring that hood all the way up into this area right in here, which is super nice because that means I've got a whole nother foot to pull that car forward, which gives me another foot of space for a second car back there, or a third car, I guess, in this case. So little things, big money. Little things add up over time to make the difference between breaking even or an extra $5 grand in the bank at the end of the month. Do that every month and it adds up a lot. So one other thing that I really like is I like a chain trailer. This right here, ratcheting system, chains to the suspension, like that right there. The whole trailer is designed with chains for every single vehicle on here. It is also designed to be able to use straps. Now, Cottrell does not build it for a strap trailer, and they will tell you that plainly. However, it obviously takes straps beautifully because that's how I have these vehicles here secured down. See right here? Strap hooked in the deck, goes to there, goes up around the tire, goes back down to right there. Again, right there. So this trailer is a strap and chain trailer, not by manufacturer, but simply by the ability to use it that way. Now, I like to chain my larger units like that, and I like to chain the very front vehicle so that if I have to stop hard or I run into somebody that pulls out in front of me, I don't have to worry about that front vehicle landing inside the sleeper with me. I don't really like that idea. Another thing this trailer has that's really super nice is this an airbag, air suspension. See right there, airbags. On the other side of the trailer is a little bitty switch that I can flip, and the trailer will go psh, lower down. That way I can get low riding vehicles onto the back a lot easier. It also has a switch inside the cab of the truck that it's a reverse switch that will make the trailers go up about 4 inches in height, so that if I'm in a low area, I can raise this up and I can get over a hump in the road. Super, super nice. It's called a curb hopping control valve, and works really, really well. So that's my take on what to look for in a trailer. Basically, make sure there's no serious structural rust. If you can get a really good deal on a trailer where you can afford to do a few repairs, then that's great. And I know I'm out here in the wind. I apologize if you're having a difficult time hearing me, but wanted to get this out because there's a guy I was speaking to yesterday on one of my coaching calls that's looking to buy a trailer, and I thought I'd just go ahead and put this video out for all of you guys that if you're looking for a trailer, those are things to look for. It really doesn't matter what brand, Cottrell, Wally Mo, Miller, Sun Valley, Sun Country, whatever. It doesn't matter. Though the same basic rust issues and functionality issues is what you want to look for. So y'all keep the greasy side down, keep between the lines, drivers. Have a good one. I'm back. Just thought I was done. Thought I'd go ahead and throw out there a discussion about how to determine whether you're getting a good deal on a trailer price-wise. So there's several things to consider. You can buy a brand new one with a warranty if that's the route you choose to go. A trailer like mine will be about $19,000 new, plus FET, federal excise tax. My understanding is that'll run you somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000 for a trailer like this. Or, because like I said earlier, this is basically just a big metal skeleton with some tires and hydraulics. So it's not a big deal to do a few small repairs at all compared to the cost of a new trailer and FET. So here's what you do. you buy a trailer like this one that is, yeah, somewhere between 1 to 3 years old, you'll typically get it for about $30,000 off of new purchase price, and you won't have to pay FET. Now, if the state that you live in is a state that charges you sales tax on a trailer, and my understanding is because it's a commercial trailer, no state should, but if you run into that, there's a company based in the state of Maine whose specialty is registering trailers there. It'll cost you $250 or so to register it, and it's completely legal to register it in the state of Maine to avoid paying out that roughly 10% or whatever your state charges on top of the purchase price, which can be a huge amount of money. So a trailer like this that's a couple years old, about 60 grand, and if it's been well taken care of, it'll still basically look like a brand new trailer, but it'll save you about $40,000, take or give a little, to do that. Now, if you don't mind having an older trailer that's 8-10 years old, you might find one down around $30,000. But by the time you reach that point, you really need to be looking for a southern trailer, because if you buy a northern trailer, it will probably have a lot of rust in it at that age. And you either need to be a good welder or have a good welder that's a friend that can cut you a good deal to do a lot of rust repair, and just make sure that the price you're getting the trailer for is cheap enough that you can afford to do that rust repair and some paint. Otherwise, you know, you can get shut down on the side of the road. You can get a DOT failure on an inspection if there's rust holes in the frame of your trailer, and you know that's a real pain, and it's just better to avoid that. You're far better off to buy a trailer that's in good condition, or that you can make in good condition, that you can just roll with, because downtime is expensive. You want to just hit the road and go haul your freight, make money. Be able to do scheduled downtime repairs rather than emergency roadside expensive repairs, or even where you don't have the ability to choose the area even that you're going to have the repairs, even if they will escort you or allow you to go to a local shop. When I say local, what I mean is local to wherever you get pulled over and you fail your inspection, or your trailer breaks or whatever. You don't really have control over the repair. Plus, you're stuck in a motel or stuck in your truck while the repair is being completed. Whereas if you can schedule repairs at home, at least you're home, even if you're doing the repairs yourself. I have my own welder. I know how to use it. So I do my own repairs. It saves thousands, and I can be home at the same time. So that's my 2 cents worth for what it's worth. Always happy to share my opinion. Just ask my kids if you don't believe me. Is that right? Yeah, see? So, good luck when you're trailer shopping. Choose wisely, my friends.